Hello everyone, this is a Zbrush beginner tutorial who never used Zbrush before. This tutorial should get you up and running. Quick note, I'm using Zbrush 2020. My Zbrush could look different than any other version you're using. That being said, let's get you started. Here we go. When you're opening the Zbrush for the first time, you may see this window pop up. This is a light box. All you have to do, just press this and it will disappear. You want to pay attention to the first thing is tool. Now I have a tool canvas here already, but if you didn't, this is where you have to come. You have to hover over this power switch, PC power switch icon, and then if you press it, it will be docked. Now you can access the tools. So this is where the Zbrush starts. So now you have all these tabs here. For the beginner's sakes, we're just going to stick to this S simple brush. As soon as we left click it, it will give us some options. For 3D work, we're going to have 3D meshes. For this tutorial, I'm going to have 3D spheres. Now it's not here anymore. You can see we selected here, but it's not in the canvas. Well, you have to drag the mesh. Now, as soon as you let go, actually just a second. So you drag and let go. As soon as you do, you don't want to do anything before you press the edit button. As soon as you do that, now you have access to the 3D mesh. But if you were to done that without editing, you can see this one stays. So I'm trying to move things, nothing's moving. Oh, look at that, I can create so many stuff here. Okay, so this is a 2.0 system that's unique to Zbrush. Frankly, I don't bother with it, and for a beginner, you shouldn't worry about it. All you have to do if you're into a situation where your mesh doesn't move, you come to the layer and just clear. After that, we're going to do the same thing again. So we're still selected to this tool. Click and drag, let go, edit. Now we can do the normal 3D things that we usually do on other software. So there you go, I framed it, I can move, I can zoom in, zoom out, I can rotate the object. And here's a polyframe if you want to see how dense your meshes are, polygons are. Okay, so now for you to get used to with the meshes, this is what you have to do. You want to play around with these brushes. I recommend to start with standard, then damp standard, then a clay, and then a move. So we have standard selected. Let's see what it does. Okay, so here's another thing. If you're from C4D, you can say get those primitive objects, but you need to make it a poly mesh. So here, when you make poly mesh here, you're doing the same thing. Okay, now you can work on it. So this is your standard brush. But if other than move, any brush that you press, I think also other than smooth brush, but generally if you press Alt, see if you look at the icon, there's a negative signs to it, and then you use the same brush, it will do the opposite if you let go of Alt. See, it's pushing out, but if I press Alt, there's a negative sign and it's doing the opposite. It goes same for damp standard, clay, etc. So generally standard brush would do this. Now you can see the deformations in the mesh is pretty bad, and you can tell simply because our mesh is not dense enough. So here's the next things we need to pay attention to: subtool and geometry. Subtool is where your mesh stays. I can duplicate here, delete meshes, bring another meshes. Usually you want to press append instead of insert. You'll find them out as you spend more time with Zbrush. So this is your tool again. Now the changes we're gonna make, it's in the geometry tab. So we need to increase the meshes. So there are a couple ways to go about this, but let's just say we're in a point where we're going to export this object to our next level. So we're just going to work on the details and etc. So I'm going to divide this. Okay, there's a denser mesh, but I'm going to divide it 2 more times. Actually, okay, let's do it 1 more time and 1 more time. Now you can see this is pretty smooth. It gives pretty smooth effects here. Let's use the move brush. One more thing to pay attention, see, it's pretty smooth because we have so many polygons here. We have 2 million polygons. Now looking at the geometry tab here, we're on subdivision level 5. If we go down, our active points are 8,000, but in this canvas we have 2 million polygons. So let's say we're done with our sculpting task here completely, and we want to export it so we can render it, some other software, because Zbrush is not a rendering software or a production software. It basically does sculpting, and anything related to sculpting, that's all its primary job is. So you're not gonna do animations and stuff here, though you can do certain things, but you still need support with other software. So we're gonna export this mesh and a vector displacement map, maybe polypaint as well. Now for a beginner, I don't recommend you go try to find out how you're going to color this, because coloring has more steps involved, and that needs you a little bit time, because if you go into right now, you will get confused. Since we're going to export maps, we need a UV. So the built-in mesh has a UV that usually are not useful, so we may need to create a UV in ZBrush. So how do we do it? So if you go up here in Z plugin, there's something called UV master. That's where we're going to create UV. So I'm gonna dog this one as well. And here's a UV master. So in the geometry tab, you can see we're on subdivision level 5. Let's try to unwrap. All you have to do, unwrap, and it will create a UV for us. Okay, so we have a message. It's not letting us to create UV from the highest subdivision. It wants us to be on the lowest. Okay, we're on the lowest subdivision. Now unwrap. You can see the progress. Okay, we have a new UV. Now you're not going to be able to flatten to see how your UV looks. That's something if you want to do that, you had to work on a clone. So this is advanced things. I'm not gonna get into this. Let's just flatten, see what it does. It's not allowing us to do. So if we wanted to see how our UV looks, we needed to work on the clone, then unwrap it, and then adjust, flatten it. You'll get to see it. And once you could change the shapes and everything on your UV lens, and then from there you're going to copy this and come to here and paste this. Avoid all this extra information. For a beginner, all you have to do, come to the UV, come to the lowest subdivision level, and unwrap. You have a new UV. Okay, so we're done with the UV. So now we want to have a vector displacement. There's a caveat to it, so we're going to go to preference. So we've been to tool, plugin, now we're into preference. Here we have import export. You can see tangent, flip, and switch. Now I'm going to export this map. I'm going to render this on Redshift. Every render engine has a different number. At least that's what the case here. They mention. So for Redshift, I looked at the thread. They say whether you use 11 tangent flip, because I'm going to use it for animation. For if you're using for still images, you had to change this one. Now I'm in tangent. I'll go in 11 or 25. Both of them supposed to work. And on the Z plugin, we have a exporter called multi-map exporter. This is where we have to be. So multi-map exporter has displacement, vector, normal, texture, so on and so forth, and the mesh. Our tutorial's sake, we're going to have vector displacement, texture from polypaint, and mesh export. Now we could just create all right now, press it, and it will just create things. But we need to tweak a little bit to make sure we get what we're looking for. So for the vector displacement, we want to create displacement for a mesh in its subdivision level 1. We created subdivision level 5, but we're going to use mesh 1, and this is where we select this. Now the tangent, because it's for the animations, so I will need to have this, and the mesh. You just want to keep this one selected. You might have this stuff also selected. Okay, so you might have something like this. You just want to have this one selected for now. Now create all mesh. I'm going to find a location for me. I'm going to just go and save all. You can see the progress bar here. Now the Zbrush doesn't let you to do anything else at this time. If you do, you will cause Zbrush to take longer. So it's better to just stay here and look at the progress bar. Okay, so I have the message, all maps were created. Now this time it's random. So we have everything. Now let's say you want to save your progress. You want to come to the file, save as, find a location and pick a name for it. I'm going to keep it as is. There you go. My ZBrush project's been saved. So I could just close the ZBrush. I don't want to save it again. I'll go find the location I saved it. And here's my ZBrush. So all I have to do right now, just press it. And I'm back to where I left in ZBrush. Everything's there, just the way I left. So if I want to keep everything again, I have to just go save as, maybe overwrite the old file or create new. It's really up to you. And I could just go ahead and close it. So I did saved my files here. I could just take it from here and import on the other software that I want to use it to. And that's all from the ZBrush. So thank you for watching.